Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, whatever you're up to. Welcome to episode, I believe this is 104. So we are we are rattling through these. First thing, I would like to thank everybody that tuned into episode 100. I was really not surprised. Yeah, no, I was surprised. I was surprised how much fun it was having more than one guest on. Although I have done it before, having two guests on. It was interesting. I really enjoyed having kind of the dynamic between two different people, particularly two different people who'd never met each other. When I did it the first time with Adatone and Katie, when they were talking about singing, session singing, and backing vocalists, the two of them work with each other frequently. So, but having the dynamic where Chapman and Carl had never met each other, there was like a little bit of getting to know each other from their point of view. So I thought that was quite interesting. So I think I'm gonna do a few more of those, having more than one guest on. But anyway, I digressed. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. It was great episode, lots to digest. So as we're now fully into the summer holidays, school summer holidays, I'm sure I've mentioned this lots of times. I have two kids, so I spend most of the summer holidays during the week with my kids, just kind of hanging out. And my practice has been absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. Embarrassing, actually. For someone who hosts a podcast on practicing and getting better, the last couple of weeks have been shit. So, but I'm going to talk about what I've done and sort of how I'm navigating it. First of all, if you have kids and it's the summer holidays, give yourself a break. I'm giving myself a break. I'm not being hard on myself. I'm not kind of berating my days, and I'm kind of enjoying just kind of doing nothing really. So I say nothing. I'm about to tell you what we're up to, but the weather's been lovely, so I don't really want to sit in the sweltering hot studio running up and down scales, and it's just nice to sit in the garden. I remember I think last summer, the summer was actually pretty shit. So just sitting in the garden, I've got my laptop, so I'm playing an old Football Manager game that I used to play when I was a kid, Championship Manager. So I'm sitting in the garden playing that, hanging out with the kids, watering the grass, picking out weeds from the garden. Yeah, cooking dinners, cooking lunches. Yeah, we're just kind of hanging out in the sun. It's been lovely. So, yeah, don't give yourself too much of a hard time if you're not kind of on top of your practice like you were, you know, end of springtime. But one thing I've started to do, one thing I've really noticed is we're decorating our house. We're doing some DIY. We're redoing our bathroom. We're painting the whole front room. Now, usually when I do anything like that, first of all, I hate doing DIY. But when I do anything like that, I don't. I always want to make a start, knowing that I've got like a good couple of hours to get a good chunk of it done. Maybe I'll get the whole room painted with the first coat. But being at home with the kids, I can't do that. I just can't spend 4 hours painting a room because after 20 minutes, they're at each other's throats. They want feeding. They want to go out somewhere where shit happens. And so what I'm doing now is I'm literally taking 10 or 15 minutes and just doing what I can until I get called away. She's taken my toy. She's taken the thing. Hey, I want a sandwich. I want some pizza. It's all that kind of crap. So I'm just kind of doing what I can, even if it's just like I'm just going to paint around the plug socket. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to fill around the light switch. I'm going to fill some of those cracks in, and that's it. I'm done. I'm done for another couple of hours. When they kind of, if they wander off, they settle in and they're watching a movie. Like, right, I've filled around the light switch, so I'll just give it a bit of a sand. Maybe I can get a paint coat around it. I'll paint until the movie ends or whatever. And over the course of, I don't know how long it's been since summer holidays, 2 weeks, I've got a shitload done. Like I've wallpapered almost the entire downstairs bathroom just by doing it like a tiny little sheet at a time, a couple of times a day. I've installed these little dado rails in the front room. I've painted them. I've sanded them. I've prepped them. It's taken like multiple days, but I've kind of got there. I'm like, I can see progress, and this is exactly what I talk about when it comes to practicing. Just doing it little and often, just doing a little bit here, a little bit there over the course of, 2 weeks or a month. All of that little practice just compounds on itself, just like interest at the bank. And I say this to all of my students. I had a student just before I broke up for the summer holidays. He's been coming now for about, I'd say, a month, 6 weeks, or he's had about four, 5, 6 six lessons. I don't do sex lessons. 6 lessons or so. And the last couple, he's come in and said the same thing. He's come in and said, I've been busy at work. I've had no time to practice. I haven't done anything. Now, all we're doing is basic kind of open chord songs, G major, E minor, C and D, that kind of thing. Brown Eyed Girl. What else are we doing? Stand By Me, Songbird by Oasis, these kind of songs. And the last 3 or 4 lessons, or last 2 or 3 lessons, he's come. He's like, I haven't done any practice. I haven't had any time. I've been so busy, flat out with work. Now, I do appreciate that everybody gets busy. Things pick up. I think he's moved jobs, but he doesn't have kids. He's not married. I think he lives with his girlfriend, or he lives at home on his own. And he said this every time. For the last 3 weeks, he's come and he said, I haven't had any time. I've been so busy. And I just said, the last one, I said, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you haven't found 2 to 5 minutes every day. Not even every day. 5 times a week, 4 times a week. I don't believe you. And he kind of looked a bit stunned, a little bit shocked, like he wasn't expecting it. And I'd never want to make people feel bad about it because, first of all, learning an instrument is difficult, no matter what stage you're at. And I just said, look, your practice, it doesn't have to be like this structured 30-minute thing where you get your guitar out, you tune it, you get the music stand, you get your sheet music, you put the song on. It can be just you picking up the guitar or whatever instrument you're playing and just having it in your hand for a minute or two and just playing a couple of chords. Just G to E minor. Just do it for a couple of minutes. If you're watching TV, the advert comes on. Just play guitar through the adverts. And he was kind of going, yeah, okay, yeah. Like if you're using the microwave, put something in the microwave, put it on whatever the timer is. There's your practice time. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is. And he kind of said, he got it. And he said, all right, so what I should probably try and do, if I should just aim for like an hour and a half's practice a week. And I said, no, don't put a timestamp on it because then you'll be chasing a timestamp. And that's not what you want. What you should if you want to set yourself a goal, just say, I'm going to play every single day. The time limit doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, but you're going to play every single day. If you can do that over the course of 2 weeks or a month, you will start to make improvements. Now, they won't be the same kind of improvements if you did half an hour every single day, but you're unable to do half an hour a day because of life, girlfriend, going out with friends, you're working. I think he's got a new job, so you can't do half an hour a day. But what you can do is 1 minute every single day. That you can do. Anything over and above that, brilliant. And I think he felt a bit more confident with it, or a bit more positive. And I just said, because, when you come onto it the second day, you're not starting from nothing. You're starting from Monday's 1 or 2 minutes practice. Then when you pick it up Wednesday, again, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from Monday's practice. Let's call it 2 minutes. Monday's 2 minute practice added on top of Tuesday's 2 minute practice. So then when you pick it up Wednesday, you've got 4 minutes of practice that you're standing on top of. And if you keep doing that for the week, over the course of a week, you're looking at 20 minutes, then you're looking at 40 minutes, then you're looking at, you keep doing it, and then you're looking at an hour's worth of practice over the course of a few weeks. It's not brilliant. It's not the best, but it is better than nothing, because nothing, when you pick the guitar back up after a week, you're literally starting from scratch again. And that's why we're not seeing any progress. That's why over the course of the last 6 weeks, this is what I said to him, we're still doing the same song. You're still struggling with the same changes. You're still struggling with the same rhythm. You're still struggling with this, because you're not doing it at all. If you do something, you're consistent and you're persistent, it builds on each other. They build on each other. So yeah, he's got the summer off, and I'm hoping he's going to come back. Yeah, I can do it. I can play this song. I've gone through that, and I've gone through this. I can do these changes and are much better. These, the rhythm is sort of feeling a bit more under my fingers. So we'll just have to see. And that's something that you can definitely do. You can definitely start incorporating that into your playing. Don't worry about it being a big structured thing where you're doing 20 minutes of alternate picking, you're doing 20 minutes of sweeping, you're doing this, that, and the other. If you can just do a minute, and you can set a timer, just set it on your phone, set a click going, and just sit up. It doesn't have to be plugged into an amp. You don't need a thing. You have sheet music. You can just pick up the guitar and just work through one little whatever it is you're working on, and just do it for a minute. Then the kids start kicking off, and then you can go put it down. All right, I've done a little bit, and then the next day we'll compound onto that, and we'll start to see progress. So what I've been doing, because I don't want to sit in my studio because it's about 1,000 degrees. I'm not going to sit there; it's too hot. Is I'm just sitting out in the garden with my acoustic, and I'm just working on maybe some little bluegrass picking things. There was a line that Chapman Welch put on one of his Instagram stories about a really weird hybrid picking line that he did, which is something that I'm gonna start looking at. But it's not going to be like super structured. It's just going to be, I'll pick it up, I'll spend 10 minutes, I'll just run through this little exercise here, or maybe there's just the classic banjo bluegrass fill. I'll just sit and work on that for a couple of minutes. Or maybe there's a first dance that I've got to learn for a wedding. Well, I could just get my iPad out, stick it on top of the table in the garden, and just start running through it on the acoustic. And then, if I get a chance in the evening, I can run through it in the studio when it's cooled down a little bit. But that's kind of what my practice has to look like during the summer holidays. And like I said, I'm not trying to beat myself up about it. I'm just trying to make sure that whatever it is that I need to do, if there's any gigs or shows coming up, that I can work through whatever it is that's coming up on there that isn't usually in our set list. And the other thing that I said to him also, this is really important for everybody as well, and I think it was Aaron Forbes who touched on this when he came on, a couple of years ago. You should always make practice easy. Practice should always be accessible. Your instrument should be out and kind of easy to get to. And this is something else that I said to my student. I said, whatever room you spend the most time in, that's where you should leave your guitar. And buy a stand as well. Like if you live with your girlfriend, they don't want all your gear and stuff set up in the front room. But guitars look kind of cool. They look like it, and he's got a brand new shiny acoustic guitar. I said, if you go and buy a nice stand, it won't look out of place in your living room if that's the room that you spend most of the time in. And it should be out on the stand. It should be easy to get to. Don't put it in the case. Don't then put the case like behind a cupboard or under your bed, because everything that you put it in and hide it behind and close it behind is a barrier to your practice. And the more barriers you put up, the less likely you are to actually pick it up and play. So have it out, have it easy to get to. You can just see it sitting there. And if it's sitting there looking at you, it starts to whisper. It's like, it calls to you, play me. So when you have it out and you see it, you feel a little bit guilty. So you think, well, fuck it, I'll just pick it up and play something. So that's another great tip, is just pick it up and play. Play when you're watching TV. Play when the adverts come on. Play when the microwave's going, whatever. Play when if you live with your girlfriend or your partner, play when they've gone off to the bathroom or something, or they've gone down the road to get some milk. Just pick it up and think, right, I've got 5 minutes. I could do something here. And then that's your little practice done. But as I said, like if you're off with kids at the moment, you do have my sympathies. I'm there with you. It isn't easy. And I think I've just resigned myself to the fact that we're barely in maintenance mode for this summer holidays. I have to wait for them to go back so I can really start shedding stuff. But yeah, don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a break. So long as you're turning up to your gigs and your shows still prepared, it's fine. It's fine. Tell them I said it was fine. No, I think that's, oh, excuse me. I think that's all I wanted to talk about, to go through. So it's only going to be a short one. As I said, the studio here is absolutely fucking boiling, and it's unrealistic to sit in here for an hour in the middle of the day doing interviews. So I think I'm probably going to be doing a few more solo podcasts until things either cool down or kids go back to school. So yeah, I'm going to think of something to do for next week. Maybe I'll come up with an exercise or something. And I'm sorry, it will only pertain to guitar players. Maybe a metronome exercise. Maybe we could look at that. We could talk through some metronome exercises, because I've been digging through YouTube trying to find some really interesting rhythm timing exercises, which I've been working on as well. That's another thing you can do if you're sat out in the garden. Just put a metronome on and see if you can just sort of tap along to it, and then mute some of the beeps or the clicks, and see if you can stay in time. That's another. I just thought that that's another. Oh, sorry, punched the microphone. That's another great little exercise that I could do, that we could all do, because all of our timing could use a little bit of a polish and a buff. So yeah, we'll try that. And the other thing, no, I'm going to save it actually. I was going to tell you a metronome exercise that I was doing, but I'm actually going to save it. I'll save it for next week. So yeah, have fun. Whatever you're doing this weekend, if you're out playing, if you're out gigging in the sunshine, enjoy it. If you're not out gigging, and enjoy that. So, yes, I will leave that there. This will be short and sweet. I will see you on the next episode, and have a lovely weekend.